welcome to Bookish and Belle. If this is your first time watching me, I make videos about minimalist style, lazy girl beauty, and other ways to live a more effortless, awesome life. Sometimes I talk about food and books and knitting also, because those things are the best. Recently I did a video about minimalist misconceptions or minimalist myths, and this is going to be similar, but it's sort of a different take. This is about things that people who aren't interested in minimalism don't understand about minimalism. So the minimalist myths was more about people who are interested, but maybe they feel intimidated or they're not sure how to do it. And this is more ways you can answer some of the frequently asked questions that you get from people who think that you're weird, essentially. So let's jump right in. Oh, and I will say that these questions are about minimalism in general, but a lot of them are more specifically about minimalist style as well, just because the kind of like fashion and wardrobe perspective has always been my entry point, and it comes back to that sometimes for me. So the first thing people often do not understand about minimalists is why we love neutral colors. Obviously, you don't have to love neutrals to be a minimalist, but a lot of people do. Some people like neutrals because it's easier to mix and match and they can own fewer things, whether that be clothing, decor in your home, or just furnishings, things like that, or even the kind of small accessories that we all have, like bags and phone cases. It's easier to have that streamlined feeling, and that streamlined feeling is a lot of what you get, a lot of what brings people to having fewer things in the first place. It's kind of what brought me to that. But the other thing is that neutrals aren't really a lack of color. They're another thing. They're another choice. And I always think of it as akin to introvert extrovert. So I think that there's a lot of prioritizing in our culture of extrovert mentality and sort of valuing that above that of the introvert. And they're just different. And neutrals are the same way. People might see you wearing black and be like, oh, you're so sad, or that's so boring. Like, I hear the word boring all the time. And it's a kind of soft quietness that, much like introversion and quiet and all of the sort of yin side instead of the loud yang side of things, is just its own thing. And when an item of clothing is a neutral color, for example, it allows you to focus more on the shape or the texture, the material, the quality, the pattern, or the print. So anyway, that's my feelings on that. Another thing people don't understand about people with minimalist style is that we don't follow every trend. So people will think, well, how can you possibly spend so little on clothes or buy clothes less often or own fewer clothes? And a big part of that is that we're not responding to the constant rotation of fast fashion anymore. We are responding to our own inner desires and our own needs. And so while we may occasionally need to buy a new hat for winter or something, or just have the desire to have something nice and new, it's not at the same rate where you're buying the color that's the hot color this year and then getting rid of it and buying the next hot color the next year. So when you look at it more holistically, it becomes clear how it's possible to, for example, have a capsule wardrobe. Another thing people don't understand about capsule wardrobes is that it's okay to rewear the same thing over and over again. So some people might not like doing that, and a capsule wardrobe probably isn't for them, but most people don't notice if you do, and if they do notice, they don't care. And if they do notice, a lot of times they just notice because they notice that you look good all the time and you're wearing that same awesome outfit that you had on before. This is another place where the neutrals thing kind of comes into play, because if you're wearing a black sweater instead of a purple sweater with elephants on it, people are less likely to notice that you wore that sweater 2 days ago. One big thing people don't understand about minimalists, and this extends beyond the wardrobe, but it is about material items, is that we value quality over quantity. And they've heard us say it, but they don't really understand it. They don't really know what that means. So I often think that this is the sort of thing where you kind of have to learn by doing. It's not until you invest in quality pieces yourself that you truly understand how they make you happier in a way where you start to neglect all the other crappier versions, and then you just don't even want them anymore. It's the kind of thing where you can say it a million times, but until someone has experienced the difference, they may just not get it. Another thing people may not understand about minimalists is that we love fashion, aesthetics, sometimes even objects. There are these areas that people think we must not appreciate because why would we minimize in that area if we did? And this is not to say like all minimalists love fashion. No, some people don't, but it's just like with other people. Some of us are really into it. And there's nothing to say that you can't be interested in fashion and apply that interest through minimalism. And the final thing people don't understand about minimalism generally is that simple is not the same thing as boring. So a lot of us, we strive to have small and simple homes, simple wardrobes, and simple lives. We like to cut the fat. We don't sign up for too many activities. We don't have millions and millions of acquaintances. We spend our time very deliberately, and we trim things down to the essentials. And that, when you've done it and it works for you, feels really, really good. It's not boring. It's just the opposite of overwhelming, which is what too much stimulation can feel like for people like us. I think a lot of this comes back to that introvert-extrovert thing as well. Some people just do better with different levels of stimulation than others, and most of the minimalists who I know genuinely have an adverse reaction to levels of stimulation that other people appreciate. So if people are having trouble understanding some of your life choices, I find that a lot of times that's a good way to frame it up, even if it's not literally like I'm an introvert or I can't stand loud noises. You can even just make an analogy with it where you say, you know how extroverts relax by going out after work to happy hour and blowing off steam, and introverts relax by going home and being by themselves? Well, different people have different levels of stimuli that they react well to, and this is sort of like that. You feel comfortable in a home that's a little bit cluttered, and I feel comfortable in an empty space. So that brings us to the end. If you liked this video, please do give it the thumbs up. That helps me out a lot, and it also helps other people find me. Don't forget to leave comments with any questions or ideas that you have, and please share this video on social media if you liked it. Subscribe if you haven't already, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.